experience in finance, in the Marines, at Harvard. Why did this have to be you? Why was it you who had to go out and try to do this very hard thing that breaks these rules versus you could have gotten a job at, Goldman Sachs?
Yeah, I had a job at McKinsey. I mean, I'll tell you my tale of my tape. Like I think I told you before we started, as I was a banker, we were investing in distressed banks and thrifts. We took our fund from $150 million to $300 million. We were rocking the bank buying market. We took advantage of the Resolution Trust Corporation workout, and I made a lot of money as a young man. And my boss said, go to business school. So I was accepted to Stanford, and I was going. And I met a Marine, and he was like, what are you going to business school for? He was like, you have this background in China, and you're a banker, and you don't need to go to business school. I said, I want to learn how to lead. And he was like, you don't need to go to business school to learn how to lead. He was like, go join the Marines. And so I was lucky because we were at peacetime. It was 1999. I was old. I was 27 years old. That's old for a Marine. And I did not know how to lead. And so I went in and I had an education that was like a double up, super uber duper power pill on what the world really works like. And then we went to war. And I was lucky. I count myself lucky. I came home in one piece. I had a lot of friends that were either hurt or died. And that is a very sobering reality. We're in a complicated world at this stage. And so a lot of people have asked me, like, what right do you have to start a car company? What right do I have not to start a car company? Like, who's good at starting a car company? If you go look at the people who have started, and we're not a car company, we're a tech company that designs, builds, and sells vehicles. And it took me a while to get comfortable with that. But, I mean, if you go look at the people that started Alpine, or you go look at John DeLorean, or you go look at Preston Tucker, or if you go look at Henry Ford, or if you go look at Ferry Porsche, these people were not famous when they started their companies. Some of them were actually innovators. Others of them were lucky. Others of them were brutish and just figured it out. And so I don't know. I mean, I'm curious. I believe that we can make much better. And I feel lucky, just like joining the Marine Corps at the right time, that we're at a time in our life where we desperately need to change the path of fuel use in this world. We all sort of know it. Some people think, it's not going to be an issue for my kids or grandkids, but it's a real issue. And it's a real issue from the way we utilize economies, and I mean that have oil in the ground and they become plutocracies. And then it's a problem for what we do for emissions. And the Pollyanna Group says, it's okay, we put out fewer emissions today than we could even measure 20 years ago, so we must be doing well, but we're not doing well. And spend time in Beijing today versus when I was living there and working there in 1995, you know it. And so we have to make a change. I'm passionate about it, and I guess the way I felt about it is I could be shot, killed, dead, maimed, whatever in the Marine Corps, or I could come back and fight the fight to start an auto company and do things truly differently and make the pledge that I would make a change within my lifetime to see this happen. And I don't know.
So tell me some things. What are some things that Marine officers know about leadership that the rest of us could benefit from?
That's a kind of a loaded question. It was not pre-planned, but if you ask a Marine that, every single officer will give you the same answer, and they're dead on right. Like, there are 14 leadership traits and principles: judgment, justice, decisiveness, integrity, dependability, bearing, unselfishness, courage, moral and physical, knowledge, leadership, and endurance or enthusiasm. And those are the 14 leadership traits and principles that we live by. I would add one, not that I'm smarter than the Marine Corps, but I think that in business, we need vulnerability, and we need to be honest, and that's something that in the Marine Corps, you have trust, that's part of it, but it's different than vulnerability.